Stop waiting. Nobody is coming. While you're scrolling, someone else is building the life you keep praying for. Get up. Start now.
You can't fly in a cage built by people who are afraid of the sky. In 2025, your biggest challenge won't just be achieving your dream. It'll be protecting your energy while chasing it. Every step forward will invite resistance from the people who move. They'll call you selfish for focusing on your goals. They'll say you've changed because you stopped wasting time. But what they don't see is that change was the point. You didn't come this far to stay the same. You didn't fight through pain, doubt, and fear just to go back to mediocrity for the sake of fitting in. You're supposed to outgrow your environment. That's how evolution works. You shed old versions of yourself, and sometimes that means shedding the people who can't see the new you. The problem is, most people stay trapped in toxic environments because they confuse comfort with connection. They think being around familiar faces means belonging. But the truth is, comfort zones are graves where potential goes to die. When you spend too much time around people who don't challenge you, you start convincing yourself that average is normal. You start defending the very cage that's holding you back. You'll hear things like, "It's okay, you're doing enough," when deep down, you know you're capable of more. And the longer you stay, the more your dream starts fading. Not because it wasn't real, but because you stopped feeding it. Everyone will demand a leave, even if it hurts. Choose the second one. Growth always comes with separation. It's not personal, it's purpose. You can love people and still leave them behind if staying means betraying your potential. Because the higher you climb, the thinner the air gets. Not everyone can breathe where you're going. You'll have to let go of familiar faces, old habits, even old identities. That's the cost of elevation. But once you step into the right environment, one that challenges, uplifts, and aligns with your vision, fun and disappears the moment pain enters the room. That's why so many people set goals, buy new notebooks, and start strong every January. And by February, they've quit because they were depending on emotion instead of system. They wanted the feeling, not the fight. Discipline, on the other hand, is cold. It doesn't ask how you're doing. It tells you what to do. It's structure over feelings. It's saying, I don't care if I'm tired, I have work to do. It's dragging yourself out of bed before sunrise when your body begs for comfort. It's doing the reps when your mind screams. Enough discipline is the muscle that makes motivation unnecessary. When you rely on motivation, you build a dream that only works on sunny days. But life isn't a sunny day journey. There will be storms, heartbreak, rejection, failure, loneliness. Motivation will abandon you there. It'll say, come back when you feel better. But discipline stays. Discipline is the one that ties your shoes when you're broken, that tells you to write, study, train, build even when your mind is drowning in doubt. It's not emotional. It's habitual. It's not about being inspired. It's about being programmed to move forward no matter what. The most successful people in the world aren't the most motivated. They're the most disciplined. They built routines so deeply that not doing the work feels unnatural. Discipline is also about respect, self-respect. Because every time you say you'll do something and actually follow through, you build trust with yourself. And when you break your word, you destroy that trust. You start believing you're the type of person who never finishes what they start. That belief becomes poison. You'll start doubting your ability to change, thinking, oh, why try? I'll just fail again. That's what kills most dreams. Not lack of skill, but lack of self-trust. Discipline is how you rebuild that trust. It's how you look in the mirror and know, if I say I'll do it, it's getting done. When your word means something to you, that's when the world starts respecting you too, because no one believes in someone who can't even believe in their own consistency. It's also important to understand that discipline doesn't mean being robotic. It's not about suppressing your emotions. It's about leading them. Everyone feels fear, laziness, doubt. Discipline just refuses to bow to those feelings. It uses them as fuel. It says, I don't feel like doing this, which means it matters. How that shift in thinking separates the dreamers from the doers. Most people wait for motivation to appear. The discipline created. They act first, feel later. You'll never always be inspired, but once you act, the fire follows. That's the paradox. Action creates emotion, not the other way around. The discipline don't wait for the mood to strike. They strike until the mood changes. 2025 is a battlefield of distraction. Everywhere you look, there's something pulling you off your purpose. Endless scrolling, fake validation, shortcuts that promise success without effort. Discipline is your armor against all that noise. It's saying no when everyone else says yes. It's turning off your phone when others are lost in digital escape. It's reading when others are sleeping. It's focusing on your craft when others are chasing comfort. In a world that rewards laziness with likes, discipline is rebellion. And the truth is, most people won't understand your discipline. They'll call it obsession, arrogance, or isolation. But what they call obsession is actually precision. What they call arrogance is confidence built through repetition. What they call isolation is focus, the kind of focus that transforms potential into power. You also have to understand that discipline is not built overnight. It's carved through repetition, through failure, through struggle. You'll break your own rules, you'll slip, you'll fall, but every time you get back up, your discipline gets stronger. The key is to not negotiate with yourself. The moment you start saying, adjust this once, you've already lost control. Discipline lives in non-negotiable decisions. If you say you'll train at 6 a.m., you train. Not 6 for 5, not tomorrow, not when you feel better. The brain learns through behavior. Every act of discipline reprograms it to obey you faster. That's how discipline becomes identity. You stop having to think about doing it. It just becomes who you are. People often say, oh, you're so lucky you're disciplined. No, discipline isn't luck, it's leadership. You are leading yourself, your mind, and your emotions. You're becoming your own coach, your own soldier, your own boss. You don't need anyone to push you because you've learned how to push yourself. And that's the real power. Once you're self-driven, you become unstoppable. No setback can stop a person who's trained themselves to move forward anyway. Even pain becomes fuel. Even failure becomes data. The disciplined mind doesn't see loss, it sees lessons. It doesn't complain about what went wrong, it asks, oh, what's next? That's why disciplined people grow faster. They don't waste energy crying over what can't be changed. The reason so many dreams die before they start is because people chase the feeling of progress instead of the process. They love the idea of success, but hate the discipline that creates it. They post quotes, talk big, but disappear when it's time to grind. The process isn't glamorous. It's lonely, repetitive, and often boring. But that's where transformation happens. In the quiet moments when no one is watching, no one clapping, no one caring, that's where discipline is born. And the ones who survive those moments come out unstoppable because their fire doesn't depend on attention. Their consistency becomes their weapon. While others talk, they move. While others rest, they rise. And when the results come, everyone else calls it overnight success, not realizing those nights last years. So in 2025, if you truly want to make your big dreams real, stop waiting to be motivated. Stop waiting for the perfect energy, the perfect energy, the perfect day, the perfect mindset. It's never coming. What you have is now. And the only thing that separates the people who win from the people who wish is discipline. Make your routine your religion. Guard your habits like treasure. Wake up before the world does. Do the work even when it feels pointless. Because every small act of consistency adds up. The extra rep, the extra page, the extra hour. Over time, that becomes power. That becomes momentum. And eventually that becomes your dream. Discipline is how you bridge the gap between who you are and who you're meant to be. When motivation fades, when comfort calls, when the world forgets. Great athlete, every successful entrepreneur, every visionary who changed the world had to walk through pain. They had to lose, fail, and suffer before they won. Pain is the entrance exam to greatness. If you can't handle the struggle, you don't deserve the success. That's the law of reality. You can't have strength without resistance, and you can't have wisdom without wounds. Your pain isn't your enemy, it's your mentor. It's teaching you lessons comfort never could. The thing about pain is that it doesn't just build toughness, it builds clarity. When you're hurting, your priorities become real. You stop wasting time on what doesn't matter. You stop chasing approval, distraction, and validation. Nah. Pain forces you to look inward, to see what's real and what's fake, cleanses you from the inside out. Every painful moment you survived is giving you something. A deeper perspective, a sharper focus, a harder mindset. Most people see pain as a reason to stop. But the truth is, pain is the sign you're moving in the right direction. It means you're breaking limits. It means you're evolving. Growth hurts because it's literally tearing away parts of you that can't come with you to the next level. The reason most dreams die is because people misinterpret pain. They think it's a signal to quit when it's actually a signal to keep going. They confuse discomfort with danger. Pain doesn't always mean something's wrong. Sometimes it means something's working. Think about the gym. Your muscles don't grow when you lift easy. They grow when you push through pain. That's how strength is created, by tearing and rebuilding. Life is no different. Every challenge, every heart can let it break you or build you. You can let it define your limits or refine your strength. You can either suffer from it or grow through it. That's the difference between people who give up and people who go up. One lets pain control them. The other uses pain to rise. Every tear, every scar, every sleepless night can either be your excuse or your evidence. The proof that you kept fighting when it would have been easier to stop. That's how warriors are made. Not through comfort, but through constant confrontation with pain. At some point, you'll realize that pain doesn't last forever, but the strength it gives you does. You'll look back on the moments that almost broke you and realize they were the ones that, and assume that's all they're capable of. But the truth is, what you see consistently, you start to believe, and what you believe, you start to create. Your imagination isn't fantasy. It's the foundation of everything you're about to become. In 2025, if you want to make your big dreams real, you have to live in them before they exist. You have to speak, act, and think like the version of you who's already there. That means walking with confidence even when no one claps for you, working like you're being watched even when no one's paying attention, and believing in your future even when your present looks like failure. You've got to train your mind to see beyond, begins to believe it's true. Once it believes, your behavior changes. You start waking up earlier, working harder, thinking sharper. You start making decisions that align with that future version of yourself. And that's when the magic happens. Your vision begins to manifest in real time. But here's the truth. Seeing it until you become it takes mental toughness. Because while you're visualizing greatness, life will keep showing you the opposite. You'll have days when everything goes wrong. Bills, setbacks, betrayals, loneliness. That's where most people give up. They say, if this was meant for me, it wouldn't be this hard. No, act on it, and eventually you'll step into it. That's how creation works. Everything that exists was once just an idea someone refused to let die. But remember, seeing it until you become. It doesn't mean just sitting around dreaming. Vision without action is hallucination. You have to work for it like your life depends on it. You have to back your belief with brutal consistency. You have to prove to life that you're serious. Every rep in the gym, every late night, every early morning, every no you say to distraction, it's all proof that you're becoming what you've been visualizing. You're not just seeing the dream, you're stepping into it one disciplined action at a time. Because what they're really saying is, I'd rather stay the same than face the pain of growth. Excuses are comfort soldiers. They protect your comfort zone and destroy your progress. They whisper, you've done enough, when deep down you know you barely started. They tell you it's not your fault, when deep down you know you've been avoiding responsibility. And the more you feed them, the stronger they become until one day, your entire life becomes a story about what could have been. The dangerous part is that excuses often sound logical. They sound rational. You tell yourself, I don't have time. But somehow you scroll for hours, bleed, and sacrifice for it. You'll stop needing perfect conditions because your purpose becomes your permission. You'll stop saying I can't and start saying I will find a way. That's the difference between dreamers and doers. Dreamers want it easy. Doers want it real. Dreamers make excuses. Doers make progress. Excuses come from fear. Fear of rejection, fear of not being enough. But you have to understand that fear is normal. What's not normal is letting it run your life. Every person who's ever built something extraordinary had every reason to quit. They had excuses too. The difference is they didn't feed them. They say things like, to wake up before the sun, to outwork your fear, to silence your doubt through action. You can't think your way into success. You move your way into it. Action is louder than self-talk, louder than fear, louder than every insecurity trying to hold you back. When you move with purpose, even the universe starts to move with you. but is waiting to see if you're serious. Ruthless stones don't ask, can I do this? They ask, how far can I go if I give it everything? That's a different mindset. That's hunger. That's fire. And the truth is, 2025 will test that hunger. It will test your consistency. It will test your patience. There will be moments when it feels like all your effort is going unnoticed, like the world doesn't care how hard you're working. But that's the test. Most people fail the silent season, the waiting season, the time when results are invisible, but discipline must stay visible. Most people quit right before their breakthrough, not because they can't do it, but because they stop believing it's worth it. The ruthless doers, they keep showing up anyway. They keep building even in the dark. They trust that one day the light will catch up to their grind. Every time you act when you don't feel like it, you're training your mind to obey your purpose, not your mood. And that's where the power comes from. Most people let emotions lead them. They work hard when they're motivated and disappear when they're not. But success doesn't care about your feelings. It only responds to your effort. When you become the kind of person who moves regardless of emotion, you become unstoppable. That's what makes 2025 belong to the doers. They don't care if it's raining, if they're tired, if nobody's clapping. If nobody's clapping, they move. They show up because their identity demands it. The standard doesn't drop just because life gets uncomfortable. To make your dream real this year, you have to become unreasonable with your expectations of yourself. You have to demand more than you did last year. You have to raise your standards so high that your old self couldn't survive in your new world. That's what ruthless commitment looks like. You don't say, I'll try. You say, I will. You don't say, I hope. You say, it's mine. You don't wait for opportunity. You create it. You don't pray for an easier path. You build stronger legs. Your path, you build stronger legs. You stop watching other people's success like it's entertainment and start building your own like it's oxygen. And when things go wrong, and they will, you don't fall apart. You adapt. You pivot. You use the pain as proof that you're still in a fight. The ruthless doers don't see obstacles as stop signs. They see them as checkpoint. Every time something breaks, they ask, what is this trying to teach me? Every time they fall, they get up faster. They know that resilience is the only real currency of success. Because when you're truly committed, quitting isn't even an option. It's not in your vocabulary. You'll die trying before you die wondering. 2025 will reward those who move with urgency. This is the year to stop saying, I'll start next month. I'll try when I feel ready. I'll wait for the right time. The right time is now. Because the truth is, if you don't do it now, you probably never will. The world doesn't owe you another chance. It's giving you this one. What you do with it will define your life. Every dreamer watching others succeed while they stay stuck is missing one thing. Execution, not motivation, not luck. Execution. Ruthless, consistent, relentless execution. So ask yourself, are you going to keep talking about your dream, or are you going to make it real? Are you going to stay stuck in potential, or are you going to prove to yourself that you're built for more? Because this year will expose the truth about who you are. The people who keep saying, someday will still be saying it next year, but the ones who take action now, the ones who bleed for it, sweat for it, sacrifice for it, they'll be living it. 2025 belongs to the ruthless doers. To the ones who don't need validation. To the ones who stopped waiting for miracles and became their own. The question isn't whether you can do it. The question is whether you'll decide to. Because once you make that decision, once you go all in and mean it, the world has no choice but to move out of your way. The dream stops being a fantasy and starts being your reality. So don't talk, don't wait, don't wish. Move, build. Create through, because this year doesn't belong to the loudest. It belongs to the most relentless. And if you decide to be one of them, if you decide to give everything you got, then 2025 won't just be another year. It'll be the year that changed everything. Listen, this is the moment where you decide what kind of person you're going to be. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. Because every dream, every goal, every version of success you've ever imagined for yourself is waiting on the other side of one decision to stop talking and start doing. The world is filled with people who almost made it. People who had the talent, the ideas, the potential, but they never pulled the trigger. They waited for the perfect time that never came. They played it safe while life passed them by. And one day they look back and realize they didn't run out of time. They ran out of courage. You can't be that person. Not in 2025. This year demands a different version of you. The one who doesn't wait for motivation. The one who doesn't care who's watching. The one who shows up whether it's dark, cold, painful, or lonely. The one who's willing to go through hell to build something that feels like heaven. Because that's what your dream is. It's not just an idea, it's a calling. It's your soul screaming for more, and you can't ignore it anymore. You've been playing small, talking yourself out of greatness, convincing yourself that maybe next year will be better. No, this is your year. This is your time. You've got to move like your life depends on it, because it does. The difference between a dream and a memory is action. One becomes your future. The other becomes your regret. Which one will you choose? You've been through too much to quit now. You've cried too many nights, doubted yourself too many times, and carried too much pain to just stop here. Everything you've been through wasn't meant to break you. It was preparing you. Those struggles weren't punishments. They were training sessions for the greatness that's waiting for you to claim it. So when life gets hard, and it will, don't fold. When the world doubts you, don't stop. When it feels like nothing's working, keep moving. Because every step, every failure, every sleepless night is taking you closer to what you are. You just can't stop before you see it. You can't die in the middle of your story. The version of you that you've always wanted to become, the one who's confident, strong, focused, unstoppable, that version is waiting for you on the other side of your consistency. So from this moment on, no more excuses, no more waiting, no more someday. This is the year you turn your dream into your reality. The year you silence every voice that said you couldn't. The year you proved that your pain had a purpose, your struggle had meaning, and your vision was real. Because once you truly commit, the universe will move mountains for you. So stand up, breathe in, and look in the mirror. That's your competition. That's your reason. That's your weapon. Go all in. Don't stop until your dream is no longer a thought in your mind, but the life you wake up to every single day. This is your time. Own it.